Hare Krishna. So today we continue our discussion on Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka. And how can be used as a personal guide, Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka, and the life of Lord Chaitanya and his teachings. So yesterday we discussed the first two lines of the third verse. This verse is very famous. Trinada pisunichana tororivahstu hishnana amanina manadina kirtanyak sadahari. And we discussed how crucial it is for our spiritual advancement to be more humble than a blade of grass. and to be as tolerant as a tree. And we mentioned how tree is living for the benefit of others. Yes. And if brahmanas are not living for the benefit of others, are lower than trees. Yes. So everyone, etava janma safalyam dehi namiha dehishu pranayar atar diyavacha shreya acharanam sada. This is Lord Krishna personally was told to his friends just before he sent them to Yagic Brahmanas and he was glorifying the trees. And then he said that one should engage his life, prana, his artha, his wealth, his intelligence, diya, and vacha, his words, for the benefit of others. Yes. And always. It's interesting because words, many times we use words for just gossiping. What to speak for benefit of others. Yes, so we should be very careful. Because Krishna said sada, that always should be used for the benefit of others. Our wealth, our life, our intelligence and our words. Yes. So then the next is amanina. Amanina means, and here it is translated as not expecting respect for oneself. And we know from Bhagavata-gita, from the 13th chapter, in which Krishna explains what is knowledge, from verse 8 to 12 of 13th chapter, he begins with amanitvam adambitvam, with the same word practically. And there is translated as pridelessness. It's amanitvam. And here we can see it's not demanding respect for oneself. And adambitvam is translated as absence of pride. So what is the difference? One may say it's the same, isn't it? But it's not. If we expect respect for ourselves, that means that we expect others that worship us as God, basically. Yes. Because only respect, Krishna is worthy of respect. And therefore, if we demand respect or expect respect, even if we don't express it, if we just expect respect, then we expect others to worship us as God, basically. Yes. And adambitvam is practically arrogance. Many times is translated as arrogance also. Damba. Adambitvam is without arrogance. That means adambitvam in this connection is acting as God. This is the difference. Amanitvam means we don't expect others to respect us as God, and adambitvam means that we don't act as God. Yes. Because I consider myself important, and so you should appreciate my thoughts, or do as I tell you. Yes, this is damba. But amanitvam means we don't expect others to respect us. So this is of course very difficult. We discussed yesterday how in any community, here you have a devotional community, but any community, even marriage is a community. In any community we tend to expect some respect, isn't it? Yes. And to be appreciated, that someone would appreciate our service. Yes, and this is completely natural. But we should understand that this is just the consequence of false ego and nothing else, actually. Yes. So, expecting respect is something that we should give up. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki Jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi. So yes, we should understand that spiritual life is against basic principles of material life. That doesn't mean that we cannot engage our material life in spiritual pursuit and advancement, but these natural instincts of material life are against our true spiritual interest. Yes. Therefore, we should learn to control them. Therefore, control is the first requirement in spiritual life, because as long as we don't have taste, as we explained this, Vishaya vinivartante niriharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopasya param drishtva nivartate. So as long as we don't have this higher taste, we'll definitely try to taste lower tastes, because we cannot live without satisfaction. So therefore it's so important to control our mind and senses. Rupa Goswami begins his Upadeshamrita with control. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jihva vegam udarapasta vegam etan vegam yobhishakheta diraha sarvam apimam pritivim shashishyat. That one should control his tongue, his speech, his anger, his mind, his belly, his genitals. Yes. And one who is perfect in this can become a spiritual master of the whole world. Yes. So, and then immediately he begins to explain the detrimental things for devotional service, and begins with atyahara, which means overeating or over-collecting. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this overeating is not just about the tongue, but it's overeating also with the other senses. We engage other senses in some unnecessary activities, not beneficial for devotional service, too much. Our eyes, our ears, our smell. Yes. If we engage those things in activities that are not Krishna conscious, then this is detrimental for devotional service. Therefore, yes, as we explained yesterday, Krishna stresses again and again in Bhagavad-gita, abhyasa yoga. Abhyasa means drill, like a military drill of our consciousness. Yes. He says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mama nusmara yudyacha mayarpita manobudir mama veshasya samshaya. Therefore, you should always think of me and perform your duty, and thus you will definitely achieve me. But you're not able to always think of me. Therefore, abhyasa yoga yuktana chetasana nagami. You engage in abhyasa, in practice. And the same in 12th chapter, he says, Mayeva mana adasva mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivesishasi mayeva atarudvama samshaya. That if you engage your mind in me and your consciousness in me, you will always live within me and you'll definitely achieve me. But then he says, Atachetav samadatum nashaknoshi maistiram abhyasa yoga natato mami chaptandananjaya. But if you cannot be absorbed in such a samadhi all the time, abhyasa yoga natato mami chaptandananjaya. Engage in practice, in sadhana bhakti, drill of your consciousness, and thus you will develop desire to attain me. And this desire is the key to spiritual success. Without desire, we cannot achieve anything. Yes, it is because we should understand that this cheating mentality is so ingrained in one's heart that we think, yes, by just externally performing some activity like chanting or reading or coming regular to Mangalarati and so on, some external form of spiritual life that will help me to attain my goal. But it will not. You should understand this. It's about our consciousness. Therefore, Prabhupada didn't establish the society for external activities of Krishna consciousness, but he established Krishna consciousness society. It's about consciousness. It's not about external activities. Of course, external activities can help us to go deeper in our consciousness, in our drill of consciousness. But if we forget about our consciousness and we just engage in external activities without deeper connection, we will not achieve our goal. Yes. Therefore, it's so important to understand this. So, there are many instances that Lord Chaitanya exhibited this not expecting respect for himself. For example, Lord Chaitanya, from the very beginning when he took sannyas, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. And first he was tricked by Lord Nityananda. And then the next time he wanted again to go to Vrindavan. And whenever he went, thousands upon thousands of people joined him. Even millions, they were with him. And Lord Chaitanya was in complete abundance. He was just dancing and chanting he didn't know what's going on in external level. And so he came to Rimuna, and then there was this fearsome Kazi, and practically a king, Hussain Shah, Hare Krishna. And devotees wanted to warn the Lord that it's not safe to be here, because this is a cruel king that killed many Vaishnavas before. But they couldn't get the attention of Lord Chaitanya because he was always dancing in bliss, complete spiritual bliss. But then somehow or other they told him, and at that time Rupa and Sanatana Goswami came to surrender to him. And that was the first time they met. And they were really exhibiting this Trinada Pisanichana mood, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. They were falling flat, although they were the main ministers of the government, both of them. So very respectable persons. They fell flat in front of Lord Chaitanya, and then offered their prayers to Lord Chaitanya, as we are lower than Jaga and Madai, they said. Jaga and Madai, their problem was that they were just sinful. But we are lower than them because they were Brahmanas and they didn't break the principles of Brahmana caste, because they didn't serve anyone. This is principle for Brahmana, that he doesn't serve anyone. But we have served the lowest kind of people. Yes. So we are lower than Jaga and Madai. And of course, this Hussain Shah is worse than Jaga and Madai, and we served his purpose. So we are worse than Jaga and Madai. And we are begging you for mercy. And we are like a dwarf trying to catch the moon. Because the dwarf is very small and the moon is very far away. But they are so audacious, they try to catch the moon. But since they are dwarf, it's not possible. But still, they're begging him for mercy, something unattainable. And they went with this mood, forth and forth. And then Lord Chaitanya said that you're breaking my heart with your humility. Don't speak like this. And then something very interesting happened. Lord Chaitanya just accepted Rupa and Sanatana as his disciples. And then what happened? Rupa and Sanatana started to instruct the Lord. They said, we think it's not proper to go to Vrindavan with such big crowd. Vrindavan is a very peaceful place. And if you come with such big crowd to Vrindavan, the atmosphere will be disturbed. It's very interesting, isn't it? Just a few moments before, they exhibited utter humility. But then they were so audacious to dare to instruct the Lord himself in their first meeting. And it was very interesting that the Lord didn't react in a proud manner. Who you are, who are you that you dare to instruct me? I'm your spiritual master. This is an offense. This is the Guru of Agya. No, Lord Chaitanya didn't react in this manner. He didn't expect any respect for himself, actually. And he considered what Rupa and Sanatana said, and he said, yes, they're right. And he didn't go to Vrindavan at that time. Although this was his heart's desire, he kept it in his heart for many years, actually, to go to Vrindavan. But he went back then to Jagannath Puri. Yes. And only one later time he went to Vrindavan with just one associate. Yes. So we can see how important it is to not expect respect. And we just mentioned, but not developed this thought about communities, devotee communities, even marriage and so on, that we perform some service for a long time, maybe, and we expect that they will appreciate us, that they will care for us, and so on. But this is business mentality. We maybe don't realize that this is business mentality, but it is. As soon as we expect anything for our service, this is business mentality. Yes. Vanik mentality, as Prahlad Maharaj said. So we should understand that we should not expect anything for our benefit. We shouldn't expect that if we are late from some service that there will be prasad for us. That someone will arrange prasad for us, or that I don't know, whatever. As soon as we expect this, yes, this is natural actually. Such expectations are natural, but are against our spiritual interest very much. Therefore, in 10th canto, Lord Brahma prays Tatenu kampam sasamikṣamano punjana evatma kritam vipakam hritvakva for birvida dannamasti jivetayo muktipade sadayabhak. That one is willing to accept all tribulations in his life and tolerate them very patiently, and not just tolerate them, but thank the Lord for these tribulations, and glorify the Lord with his mind and words and body. Yes. And if one has such an attitude, he is worthy of liberation. Actually, he is liberated in this very life. And one has to be liberated in this very life if we want to be liberated at the time of death. Because nothing comes automatically. We said that the death itself doesn't have any power to bring any type of result. Yes, everything depends on our consciousness. Of course, we as devotees, we don't, at least we shouldn't, if we want to achieve the highest perfection, long for liberation, to be liberated from this world. But we don't even achieve what we really want, love for Krishna. Yes. Immediately when we expect anything, then love of Krishna is very far. Yes. Not possible to attain. Not possible to attain. Yes. Therefore, this humility and not expecting respect and tolerance are extremely important. Extremely important. Therefore, this verse is so well known, but it should be known also in our heart, not just in our memory. Therefore, it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, then one should thread this verse on the string of the holy name and wear it around his neck all the time for constant remembrance. For constant remembrance. Yes. So please do yourself a favor and practice utter humility. Of course, this shouldn't be exploited by those in the position, because they also have to practice this utter humility themselves. Otherwise, they're not true spiritual leaders. Yes. They should, as it's in English, they should command respect, not expect respect. Command respect means that everyone respect them by their very nature, by their very behavior. They ignite respect in your heart. Such should be behavior of everyone. Yes. And then it is manadena. Mana, we said amanitvam, or amanina manadena. Amanina means without expecting respect, and manadena means to give respect. And we should understand that by our very nature we are servants, and nothing else than servants. Yes. Jivaras Varupa Hoy, Krishna Nitya Das. Nitya. It means always. In any circumstance. Even if you are the President of the USA. We are just a servant and nothing else. Yes. Or even if you are a temple president, or a father, or a mother, or a guru, we are always the servant. Always the servant. And one should have this mentality, I am just a servant. And therefore, we give respect to everyone. Why? Because Krishna says in 15th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Mamaevam shur jiva loki jiva bhutak sanatana, that every living entity is my part and parcel. So if I'm Krishna Nitya Das, I'm always the servant of Krishna, then it means that we are also the insignificant servant of any of his parts and parcels. That means also other living entities. Yes. So this should be our mentality. I am just a servant of every living entity, actually. Not just devotees. One would think that I am a servant only of devotees. But no, I am a servant of every living entity. But we should understand how to serve properly. Because we don't serve in the same way just anybody. For example, we serve a cow to give it grass, to give her grass, and to scratch her neck. This is proper service for a cow, isn't it? Because the cow very much enjoys scratching her neck and giving her food, grass. But if you invite a brahmana, for example, for a lunch, we cannot give him a bunch of grass and scratch his neck. that this would be an offense. Yeah. So we should serve different living entities according to their position. And we know that living entities in this world are illusioned, deeply illusioned. So we don't serve ordinary living entities in the way they would like us to serve them. That they send us to get cigarettes for them. And we say, yes, yes, I'm your servant. Or anything like this. No. Like we should behave like a doctor towards the patient. Because patient may be crazy and wants the doctor to say to him that he can eat any nonsense or drink any nonsense. But no, doctor doesn't treat a patient in the way the crazy patient would want, but treat him in the way that the patient would get cured as soon as possible. So we should also serve other living entities, not in the way they want us to serve them, in their illusion and craziness, but in the way that we can really help them to attain their ultimate benefit. Yes, and this is proper manadina, proper giving of respect. Yes, because we should respect that they are Krishna's part and parcels, and we should know that we are servants, their servants, and everyone's servant. And but we should properly engage our service attitude, yes, in the way that we benefit them, as we just quoted the verse from Krishna himself, that we should perform everything for the benefit of others, with our wealth, with our life, with our intelligence, and with our words. Yes. So this is extremely important to understand. Our life is completely meant for service and nothing else. Yes. One would think that this is a nice philosophy to brainwash people. But we should understand the principle that everyone is always engaged in service. Not even for a moment anyone does anything just performing service. Even we said most ardent atheists and selfish people are always performing service, if to no one else, to their bodies and mind, which are they are not these bodies and mind, but these bodies and mind are again Krishna's energy and nothing else. So they serve Krishna all the time. Yes, without even knowing it, because everyone is attracted to Krishna only. Krishna says, Yat yat vibhuti matsattvam shrimat urjitam eva tat tat avavagachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. In 10th chapter, he explains that whatever there is attractive in this world, so whatever is beautiful and so on, in great, whatever we are attracted to actually is this money or opposite sex or beauty of the nature or anything like this. We are attracted only to Krishna. So everyone is helplessly in love with Krishna. If one knows it or not. Even the most ardent atheists are in love in Krishna only. But in a wrong way. Krishna explains this in 9th chapter. He says, Yepi anya devata bhakta yajanti shraddhayanvitaha tepi mam eva kantaya yajante viti purvakam. That those who worship these other gods, and whatever we serve is our God, actually. If we serve our body, we consider independently from devotional service to the Lord, we consider it as our worshipable deity. So, in whatever we serve and worship, this is worship, of course, we serve only Lord. We worship only Lord. Yes. Yepyanya devata bhakta yajante shadavanta tepim am eva kauntaya. They worship only me, certainly eva, but avidi purvakam, in the wrong direction, in not prescribed manner, and therefore they will fall down. Yes, so we should engage properly ourselves to directing our consciousness, our life and soul to serve the Lord Himself. Okay, this is about the third verse. Is there any question or comment or doubt? Yes, please.
You mentioned about the presence of God in every living entity or everything around us.
Yes.
Yeah, in the lecture, and the question is that these things we know, but we cannot incorporate it in life. Like we discriminate without even, like in my opinion, I may be wrong, but we discriminate as humans. Even gods also discriminate.
Yes.
Gods discriminate in the way, I can give you the example, is that when Duryodhana came to Krishna for asking support for doing bad things, he tried to cheat God, and God cheated him, as you said it in one of the previous lectures, that if we try to cheat God, God cheated us. So his discrimination was based on how other entity was treating him, but our discrimination is without, like it can be based on financial status of the guy and maybe sexual orientation or several other environmental factors. So how can we get rid of this thing which we are doing wrong?
Of this discrimination that we have.
Like that discrimination, okay, I can understand that because he was trying to cheat, that's why God reacted in accordingly.
Yes.
But in my case, like I don't even, the other guy hasn't even done anything wrong, but because of this worldly factors, we are making discrimination. So how can we overcome that?
Very good question. In third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila Dev explains that one who discriminates any living entity has pritak bhava, or separate consciousness, separate from the Lord. Yes, separate mentality from the Lord. That means he separated himself from the Lord, because the Lord is one non-dual consciousness, actually, and living entities are his part and parcels. And that, and he mentions that this is a hellish mentality, to see differently any living entity. But immediately after this, he explains that above the living entities without legs and hands are living entities with legs. And then above these living entities are these particular living entities. And above all these living entities are human beings. And amongst human beings, those without civilization are the lowest. And then higher are those with civilization. Amongst those with civilization, Shudras are the lowest, and Brahmanas are the highest. And amongst Brahmanas, he explained different gradations. Gradations of living entities. So although he just explained that we shouldn't see any difference, then he explains the difference. And we mentioned how we should behave towards a cow and how we should behave towards a Brahmana, for example. But nevertheless, in 5th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, it is explained, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmanigahu Hastini Shunicheva Svapakecha Pandita Samadarshana. That Pandita, or one who is in deep knowledge, sees with equal vision Samadarshana, the cow, the elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, and a Brahmana, self-realized soul. So, although we see that every living entity is of the same spiritual quality, same spiritual substance, we behave differently towards different living entities according to the conditioned situation. Understand?
Is discrimination, the way we behave with cow, the way we behave with a monk is different, so that is dharma, like it is right to do that.
Yes, yes, this is right to do.
How to get rid of the preconception?
Yes, you should see that Krishna is in every living entity and that we are his servants. So we should get rid of this mentality that we are in any way superior to any living entity, with proper understanding that we are just Krishna's servants. So whatever living entity I see or I have any relationship with, I should try to serve them. Yes, you should try to serve them with this understanding that these are Krishna's part and parcels. So I'm just their servant. But I should serve them according to their position. As I just explained, we cannot serve the cow in the same way as a Brahmana, or we cannot serve the crazy materialist in the same way as spiritually enlightened person. Yes, we treat them differently. Someone like a king, he is protecting all the citizens. He gives protection to all the citizens, but to the murderer, he killed him immediately. He should kill him immediately, and he serves him in killing him, actually, because he will be free of his terrible karma in his next life if the king kills him. So we should serve according to one's position. Yes. Not to be blind to these differences in material world. Yes. Hare Krishna. Is this okay?
One more question?
Yes.
It is not related to today's class, but from the Bhagavad-gita.
Yes.
May I ask?
Yes.
Okay. In Gita, it is written surrender to God a lot of times.
Yes.
What does surrender actually means, and how it is different from superstition?
Superstition.
Yeah, how it is different. What is the meaning and how it is different from superstition? I don't understand. That's why I'm asking this.
Yes.
Question. Yeah.
There are 6 types of surrender. Anukulyasya sankalpaha pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishati vishvaso goptartve varnam tata atmanikshepa karpanye shatvida sharanagati. Sharanagati means surrender. And first item of surrender is to accept everything that is favorable for devotional service. It's anukulyasa sankalpa. Sankalpa means firm determination that we will accept everything that is beneficial for devotional service. And then second item of surrender is pratikulyasya varjanam, that we reject anything that is not beneficial for devotional service. Yes. So different sinful tendencies or distracting things like phone. We reject anything that is distract our consciousness from devotional service. Then is rakshishyatiti vishvaso, that we have firm faith, vishvasa, that Krishna will always protect us. Yes, rakshishyatiti vishvaso. And then goptratve vranam tata, that we have firm faith that Krishna will always maintain us. And this is the central, according to our acharyas, this is the central item of surrender, that we have firm faith that Krishna will maintain me in any circumstance. So this is perceived by losing our fear. If we are afraid of anything, that means that we don't trust Krishna. Actually, we don't trust Krishna. Because even if something, according to our estimation, something really bad happens to us, and we are not satisfied with this, we are not satisfied with Krishna. Actually, we don't have faith that this is for my ultimate benefit. Yes. Therefore, Krishna says so many times in Bhagavad-gita that one should be satisfied. One should be satisfied. This is God's commandment. We should be satisfied. Because if we are not satisfied, who can be happy without satisfaction? Yes. We all want to be happy, but not so many people are satisfied. So, if you learn the art to be satisfied in any circumstance, then you can become happy. Yes, and this verse that we have discussed today, Trinada Pisunichna Tarurivasishna Amanina Manadina Kirtanyaks Dahari, is all about tolerance and humility and giving respect and not expecting respect. And only then we can always chant the holy name. We can be always connected to the Lord. Yes. So goptratve vranam, we have firm faith that Krishna will always maintain me. Atmanikshepa, then is Atmanikshepa. That means that we give our heart completely to the Lord, or anything like Atmanivedana, that we give everything to the Lord. Our life, our wealth, our intelligence, our words, for the pleasure of the Lord. Yes, this is Atmanikshepa. This is the next item of surrender. And Karpanye. Karpanye means humility. Humility. And again, it's stressed humility. So how important it is that we are humble in our life. Without humility, no progress can be made. Yes. So this is surrender. And how it's different from superstition? Superstition has no basis in Shastra. But surrender to Krishna has the basis in Shastra. Superstition is just some lokiki shraddha. Lokiki means public belief. But devotee should not have lokiki shraddha. public belief, but should have Shastriya Shraddha, faith in Shastra. This is extremely important to understand, because even among these devotee communities there are many things that they believe without any reference from Shastra. But this is Lokiki Shraddha. And even if you have immature faith in Krishna, which is not based on Shastra, it can easily dwindle away. So our faith should be based on Shastra, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And Guru and Sadhu are both basing their life in Shastra and their teaching. So this is the difference between superstition and true faith.
One more question based on the
Yes.
comment which you gave. You said in one of the
Items of surrenders.
yeah,
Yes.
you mentioned about having faith in God. So how and why can we have faith in God?
We mentioned that we have faith that Krishna will protect us and that Krishna will maintain us. This we mentioned faith. First item was to accept anything favorable for devotional service, and then to reject everything unfavorable for devotional service. And then to have faith that Krishna will protect us, faith that Krishna will maintain us, and then to give everything to the Lord, our heart, and everything, and to be humble very much. Yes. So, what kind of faith you are interested in?
No, it means like I'm exploring. I don't know all these things, so that's why I asked like why. That's why I was trying to think like you mentioned we should have faith in God, but why we should have faith in God? How can we develop this faith in God? That was my question.
Yes.
How can we develop? Yeah.
Yes, we should understand this faith is yadrichaya. Yadrichaya. That means somehow or other we get it. Without any cause.
Without any cause, okay.
Yes. It's causeless because it's transcendental. Material existence means cause and effect. You do something and the effect is like this. But spiritual reality is without cause and without effect. It's beyond karmic reactions. So you cannot do anything to get this faith, except you get it by the mercy. This is mercy. You get it only by mercy. And Krishna's mercy, of course. And Krishna's mercy in this world is exhibited through Krishna's devotees. So if you engage in service of Krishna's devotees, you open your heart to receive the mercy. Because mercy of devotees flow freely. They're not picky whom to show mercy and whom not to. But they try to give mercy to everyone. But not everyone is open to receive mercy. If our heart is closed to mercy of devotees, we will not receive it, even though we may be showered by it. So, our heart opens with service. Yes. This is the secret.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Yes. And why to develop love or faith in God?
Yeah.
It's sheer logic.
It's
Sheer logic.
logic.
Yes.
What is the logic here?
What is the logic? Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvalokamakheshwaram sukridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati, in 5th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. He explains that I'm the proprietor of everything and I'm the enjoyer of everything. So whatever we do, we should try to serve Krishna by this. Otherwise, we'll be bound in material world. And we have all this experience that we, from our birth, and even if you know anything, we know that even before our birth, we were helplessly conditioned and we suffer. Yes. There are so many sufferings. Everyone suffers daily. But we are so accustomed to suffering that we don't even know that we are suffering. Yes. Even the fact that we have to go to the toilet is a suffering, actually. Why would otherwise we go to the toilet? It's a not very beautiful place to enjoy it. But if we don't respond very quickly, then we will suffer. Yes, so we suffer all the time in the material world, actually. And we don't want to suffer. No one is stupid enough to want to suffer. Everyone wants to enjoy. But only if we go beyond this world, we can be free from suffering. It's not possible to be free from suffering in this world. There is not even one living entity free from suffering in this world. If you are able to show me a particular living entity free of suffering, please show me. Yes, and so, but no one can go beyond this world without surrendering to Krishna. Krishna explains this in 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. He says, Devi hiesha gunai mama maya duratya mem eva ye prapadanti maya metantarantiti. That this energy, material energy of mine, is duratya, impossible to overcome. Impossible to overcome. Yes. With what tool we would overcome Maya, material energy? Because we identify with this body and mind. So all our tools are physical, either gross or subtle. So we depend on our senses and on our intelligence and mind. But these are material elements. So how can we go beyond matter with material elements? Not possible. So Krishna says, Mam eva ye prapadanti. Only if you surrender to me, maya metantarantiti, you can go beyond this maya. So if one is intelligent, he will surrender to Krishna. Yes. But this requires some intelligence. Yes. Otherwise, this is if someone doesn't surrender to Krishna, it's a sign that he's completely unintelligent. Yes. He's very stupid. Yes. And majority of living entities, 99.99999, are extremely stupid. Crazy, actually. Crazy. Without any hope to help them. Yes, unfortunately. Yes. So Krishna is inviting us that we should wake up. And he is sending his devotees, like Srila Prabhupada, to help us to get awake. Yes. And then we can understand Krishna and why to surrender to him. Hare Krishna. Is it okay? Anything else? So I think we'll finish here. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanande. Please accept my